And in a prison just 10 miles away from the scene of the murders, the news of Bimla Boyd's conviction was more than surprising.
My cellie came down there and said, "Hey man, you're on the news." And I said, "Yeah, what's up?" And he said, "Now that gal that testified against you killed somebody."
This is Scott Cannon. You can imagine his surprise when he heard the news that the woman who'd been the star witness against him was now a convicted killer herself.
What do you now know about Bimla Boyd that you didn't know at your trial?
Looks like she's not afraid to kill people.
But would the latest death on what became known as Murder Mountain make any difference in Cannon's case? When we met him in April 2009, he'd been behind bars for more than a decade, losing every appeal he had ever filed. And he was still claiming that he did not kill Jason Kinzer, Susan Osborne, and Celesta Graves.
What do you most want people to know?
Wrong guy's in prison.
Are you a killer?
I'm not a killer.
It's hard to say that, isn't it?
It's easy to say I'm not a killer. It's hard to be asked it over and over and over.
In 2005, Eric Mason left TV News for a new line of work. The investigative reporter became a private investigator. And in 2008, the newly minted private eye walked into the Oregon State Penitentiary, where at the visitor's desk, he recognized an inmate named Scott Cannon.
He said, "You know, I tried to find you. I've been looking for you. I knew you were a good investigator. Would you take on my case?" And I said, "Absolutely." I didn't hesitate at all.
And no one would listen.
First, Mason, the reporter turned private eye, revisited the scene of the murder. He found this woman. She lives at the bottom of the road leading to the house on the hill.
We were standing at the bottom of the hill down here.
Irene Morrow told the private eye that on the day of the murders in 1998, Bimla Boyd did not stay on the property the entire afternoon as Boyd had told detectives. At one point, she drove down the driveway in such a hurry that she almost ran over Morrow's husband, who had gone out to get the mail.
When she saw us, she was visibly shaken. I mean, she didn't expect to see anybody. And she took off real fast. I mean, real fast.
The Marion County Courthouse, Salem, Oregon, summer 2009. Scott Cannon, in prison for nearly 11 years for a triple murder, had a court date, a hearing on all the points raised in his appeal, a hearing that could end with him getting a new trial or being sent back to prison for life.
You think you'll ever get out of here?
I'm confident I'm going to get out of here. I really am. Too many things have happened to go my way at this point to slow it up.
You think Scott Cannon's going to walk out of prison a free man like this is some kind of movie?
I do. I don't even think we're going to have a trial. I think this case is that good.
Remember, the jury in Cannon's trial heard from an expert in comparative bullet lead analysis. The expert testified that the chances of the bullets in Cannon's garage containing the same lead as the bullets found in the victims' bodies was 1 in 64 million, as good as DNA, or so it seemed back then. The problem now is that comparative bullet lead analysis has been completely discredited by none other than the FBI.
The FBI declared that they were not going to use comparative bullet lead analysis anymore because it's bad evidence, junk science essentially.
Suddenly, the weight of evidence in the case was shifting in favor of Scott Cannon's innocence. And just before Cannon's hearing was scheduled to be held, Oregon's Attorney General threw in the towel, agreeing that Cannon deserved a new trial. Scott Cannon's attorney and investigator delivered the news and the paperwork to Cannon at the penitentiary. And just before Christmas 2009, more than 11 years after Scott Cannon's arrest, would come a scene that few outside his family and staunchest supporters thought they would ever witness.
Look at you.
Look at you.
Scott Cannon was a free man.
Congratulations.
This summer's crazy.
Very much.
What does this feel like to be freed?
It's pretty good.
Waiting there, his son Matthias, who'd seen his father arrested at gunpoint, and who was now, at age 20, a man himself.
This is going to be a new experience.
and the defense attorney, and that reporter turned private eye, who in Cannon's mind had made all the difference.
I knew you'd do it, man.
Let's go home.
All right.